Good evening, residents of Everett, Washington. I'd like to call to order the City of Everett Council meeting, February 14th, 2024. The City Council meets all requirements of the State of Washington Open Public Meetings Act. Community members are welcome to join either in person, remote via Zoom, or by calling in. For those who wish to participate in the future via Zoom, you can find the instructions to register for public comment on the City of Everett website under the City Council Department. Please note that we do not allow comments of any kind of campaigning, whether for or against ballot measures or candidates running for office. We also do not accept comments focused on personal matters that are unrelated to city business. We also ask the audience to refrain from clapping, cheering, or booing, and no signs of any kind are allowed to be in the chambers. Clerk, will you please take the roll?
Mayor Franklin.
Here.
Vice President Zarlingo.
Here.
Councilmember Fosse.
Here.
Councilmember Vogely.
Here.
Councilmember Bader.
Here.
Councilmember Ryan.
Here.
Councilmember Toohey.
Here.
President Schwab.
Here. I would like at this time to ask Councilmember Toohey to lead the Pledge of Allegiance. This time, I'd like to ask Vice President Zarlingo to read the land acknowledgement.
Thank you. This council acknowledges the original inhabitants of this place, the Snohomish people, and their successors, the Tulalip tribes. Since time immemorial, they have hunted, fished, gathered on, and taken care of these lands and waters. We respect their sovereignty, their right to self-determination, and honor their sacred spiritual connection with the land and the water. We will strive to be honest about our past mistakes and bring about a future that includes their people, stories, and voices to form a more just and equitable society.
Thank you. Do I hear a motion for approval of the minutes for February 7th, 2024?
Councilmember Ryan, so moves.
Second, Councilmember Bader.
There's been a motion and a second. Clerk, will you please take the roll?
Vice President Zarlingo.
Yes.
Councilmember Fosse.
Yes.
Councilmember Vogely.
Yes.
Councilmember Bader.
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan.
Yes.
Councilmember Toohey.
Abstain.
President Schwab.
Yes. Hi, Angie. Do we have anyone signed up to speak this evening?
Good evening, President Schwab. We do. First, we did receive some written comments, so.
Council President.
Did I
It's okay.
skip
Oh,
you?
yeah, sorry about
okay.
that.
Okay, well.
Happy
Angie-
Valentine's Day.
Angie, will you hold off? Mayor, would you have a few things to say today?
Just a few. First, happy Valentine's Day to everybody. I know it's not a real holiday, but it's very important to all the, 15-year-olds on the planet like my daughter. So this is a major holiday, so hope you're all enjoying it. I wanted to share, thank council first for their appointments to the baseball fiscal or stadium fiscal advisory committee, and make my appointments official this evening, and as well as kind of highlight some of the other folks that will be joining the group. So I'll reiterate the council appointments. That was Dan Murphy, Ethan Coffey, Maury Troutman, and Haley, I'm sorry, I don't have my glasses, Statema. And then I will be appointing Fred Safstrom, Erica Diaz, Tom Hoban, and Bob Bolerjack. I'm also going to be appointing, obviously, I think as Everett City Council, you guys spoke of Don Schwab, President Schwab, and Councilmember Fosse. And I also would like to appoint Councilmember Fosse from the state legislature. It's a nice dual role for you. I'll be appointing Carolyn Mason from the Everett School Board. From the Aquasoc, it's Chad Volpe, the owner. Makes a lot of sense. And then from Snohomish County, Brian Sullivan, County Treasurer, and I'd also like to appoint a County Council member, and I'm still confirming, I'm hoping it's our own council member, Dunn, but I've been in meetings and haven't been able to connect with her, so once I'm able to connect with her, I'll confirm that she's able, and if she's not, I'll confirm a different County Council member who is able to fill that seat. And I think that covers the appointments for that work. And I know, Scott, you're here tonight. When do we anticipate the work beginning? Based on this final appointment I still need to connect with?
Council President Schwab, Vice President Zarlingo, Mayor Franklin, council members, Scott Pattison Mayor's Office. The first meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, March 27th at 2 p.m.
Thank you. Great. And with that, I have no further comments this evening. Thank you.
Are you sure? Since I skipped you, I'll give you another chance. Okay, we're good? All right, thank you. Angie, would you like to go
Yes.
at it again? Okay, do we have anyone signed up to speak today?
We do in chambers, and we have received some written comments all in regards to the annexation of Everett Public Library. And so we received one from Aaron Storms and Everett Public Library staff as a whole, and Elizabeth Koenig. So for public comment, we will have Matt come to the podium, please. And just some housekeeping rules. You have 3 minutes to speak, and there's a timing system on the podium to the right of you. When it turns yellow, you'll have 30 seconds, and then when it beeps and flashes red, your time is up. And just press the right button on the base of the microphone and state your full name and city of residence.
My name is Matthew Farnham, and I'm a resident of Everett. I just wanted to bring to attention, I was here a couple meetings ago. We got another one of these notices in the mail about an application for permitting. The meeting for this public hearing is scheduled for March 7th at 10 a.m., and I just received this 2 days ago in the mail. Some of my other neighbors have not received this. And this is about the planning and development of a geological hazard area that's right below my house, along with a bunch of other people on Colby. There are a few residents on the north end that haven't got this public notice that have had to fill out a geological hazard information with their mortgage, insurance, and have it signed off by the city. And so I'm not understanding why we're going into the permitting process for the development of this property in a geological hazard area, which translates to me would be a slide area. Also, what I wanted to bring up is this doesn't give us adequate time to have a neighborhood meeting. We would also like to figure out how to have a neighborhood meeting with Dustin Gray of Planning, I think that's his name, of Planning, so that this could actually be gone over with our community. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Could you make sure that Jennifer Gregerson has all your contact information so that staff can follow up with you? Thank you so much.
Email, phone. Next, if Chelsea could please come to the podium. And state your full name and city of residence, and you have 3 minutes to speak.
All right, do I need to press a button or anything? Okay. Find my page. As you all know by now, my name is Chelsea Gray. I've lived in the Port Gardner and Bayside neighborhoods for close to a decade now. And during that time had no dealings with EPD until recently, October 13th of 23, when I realized I was being targeted by a group of my neighbors for general terrorization via hacking, stalking, breaking and entering, and vandalization of the property with biohazardous waste. I duly reported each incident I knew of to police, and each incident, police refused outright to take formal reports or collect evidence of any sort, or even assign incident numbers. And that continued from October to January. I was instead diverted to a bevy of other agencies whose jurisdiction this is not, and after duly following up with those agencies, I again ended up back at EPD. I was finally allowed to file a formal report the first week of January, but EPD still failed to accept any of the digital evidence that I had collected, or to review it, or to collect any evidence of their own. By January, the attack had indeed escalated to a coordinated cyber attack violating every statute under the Washington Cybercrime Act and then some, and had evolved into using a new hacking device called the Flipper Zero, which everyone in this room should Google. No officer ever fingerprinted points of entry in my vehicle or residence. No business or traffic or nearby security cam footage of any sort was ever pulled that might corroborate my account. It was never even sought out. From the very beginning, EPD's sole focus has been attempt after attempt to discredit my testimony, insisting without base or evidence that these crimes would shut down my business and cost me 60 grand so far, cut me off all internet and smart devices abruptly from my family, community, clientele. Just plainly is not happening, that I am imagining it all. I'm proficient in current tech and have been using smartphones and Xfinity modems, for almost my entire adult life. This is my 7th council meeting since Thanksgiving of '23. I'm speaking at each one, trying to get a formal investigation, begging into body cam after body cam for my case to be investigated on the merit of the evidence presented or that they may further collect during investigation, and each time been shut down. It's really quite scandalous. A person, a white man in his 50s would not be treated this way. This is a department that is, primarily male and almost all white. And this perception of women just fantasizing things it's based in misogyny. And I'd like an unbiased look at an investigation into these claims. Please. I'll keep appearing until I get it because I really don't have a choice. Thank you.
That concludes our public comment.
Are you sure?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Moving on to council comments and liaisons. Councilmember Zarlingo.
Well, thank you. Note this afternoon's council committee meeting for the built environment was held, chaired by Councilmember Vogely, and I think I'll leave it to her mostly to summarize that. We did talk mostly about the Park District development, and I guess the one thing I will say for anyone interested in that kind of development in general, and for that neighborhood and part of the city, a planning commission meeting coming up next Tuesday at 6:30, I think, in these chambers would be a great thing to attend, to comment on, or to watch virtually. And for the rest of the summary of that, I'll leave to Councilmember Vogely.
Councilmember Fossey.
Thank you. I have no questions or comments tonight.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Vogely.
Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. And yes, so we did have our Built Environment Committee meeting this evening, and it was a bloody good time. So you should totally watch it. And we did talk a lot, mostly about the parks development. And yes, all of that you said was true, Councilmember Zarlingo. There will be another meeting for the Planning Commission on Tuesday at 6:30 right here. And a lot of the questions that the Delta neighborhood mentions in their statement of position, a lot of them were talked about and asked at this committee meeting. So I really encourage you to watch and email and go to Planning Commission because I think a lot of information will be presented, and the more you hear it, the easier it is to retain. I know that's how it is for me. So it did go well. And we also will be talking about Everett Mall Way in the future, some of our meetings, and electric bikes. So if you have any interest in any of those things, please tune in or email me or Council Vice President Zarlingo. Let's see. Had my every 2 weeks meeting with Chris Collier of AHA. And so that was, of course, enlightening. We have not changed our meeting date time yet, because we're waiting for SCT to just make sure everything is all coherent and acceptable and whatever. And this is totally out of our personal jurisdiction, but being that it's Valentine's Day and there's a genocide happening across the world, I would hope for a ceasefire in Gaza. And that would, I think, make a whole lot of people's day. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Bader.
Thanks, Council President. Just real quick, went to the Riverside neighborhood meeting last night. Great presentation by Corey Hurt and his staff about the photo enforcement cameras. So thanks to them. I know they've been getting around to many of the neighborhoods, so grateful for that. And also went on to talk about the West End US 2 study and work going on there, so some good information, as well as the work, obviously, that many of us have seen happening on I-5 regarding the HOV lane extension as well. So great info, and I think it won't just impact neighborhoods like Riverside, but since traffic impacts the whole city, especially traffic that leaves I-5 to avoid I-5, and I think, and to get to US 2, I think good information was presented that hopefully a lot of other folks in the city will hear about too. So optimistic about the future of dealing with that, thanks to a lot of hard work on the part of our city traffic staff. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilmember Ryan.
Thanks. Good evening, everybody. Last Friday, I attended the Volunteers of America Rise and Shine breakfast at the Carl Gibson Center, and it was just a great reminder of the great partnership that we have with the center, and just glad for all the work that they do in our community and all the different groups of people that they serve, especially the refugees that have been coming to Snohomish County over the last couple of years. So kudos to a great event. On Monday, I did my double duty for attending the Glacier View Neighborhood Association and then hopped over to the Port Gardner Neighborhood Association. I also got to hear the presentation from Corey Hurt about the upcoming red light cameras and the red light camera at Horizon Elementary School. Looks like it'll start coming online in April. So there will be about a 30-day buffer area of if folks do get a speeding ticket, they'll be getting a warning. But just so that folks know that those lights are going to be starting to go in here in in April. There's also an information session coming up about the photo enforcement on February 27th from 7 to 8:30 p.m. at the Village on Casino Road. And folks, so it'll be an open house style, so folks, if you have questions, feel free to join for the event to ask questions and hear more about the timeline and also to know which intersections are going to have the red light cameras. And thank you to Corey for the great work that he did. Thank you, Matt, for joining this evening. I was able to reach out to Dustin Gray with our planning staff, and he gave a very comprehensive response to many of the neighborhood concerns. I'd be happy to forward that on to neighborhood leadership. And I had planned on posting on the Facebook page, but it's very, very long. So I'll prefer to send it via email. And then at the Port Gardner Neighborhood Association, we had a great presentation about the history of smokestacks here in Everett, and I just appreciate the continued engagement over public safety concerns along Lombard and 34th Street by various departments here at the city. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilmember Tui.
No report tonight.
Yeah, I just, for my thought, if you're tuning in, since we're somewhat empty today, I would recommend that anyone from our public go back to February 7th and watch at least the council meeting that covered the section on the types and methods of cost reduction that the city of Everett has been doing over the last basically 10 years. As we move forward with looking and examining revenue options, I think we need to continue to examine what we've done in the past. And we really have done our effort in reducing the costs. So I think it's really important that we keep focusing on that. So thanks for that. Do we have administrative update?
Yes, just a couple things. So happy Valentine's Day. I think for me today is a great day to feel some love for working and living in Everett. And I mean it. It sounds cheesy, but I honestly mean it in my heart.
She's a new Everett resident. She totally means it.
I do. Legislative update, I think most of you are aware of this, but in case you are not, the effort to look at the maximum increase that a city or county or other local jurisdiction could raise the property tax in any one year is dead for this legislative session, so it'll remain at that 1% cap. We had also advocated, although we hadn't talked about it and there weren't any city initiatives to pursue this, but the idea of the ability to look at a public safety sales tax, councilmanically, so sort of by council vote. That's dead too, but it was on our list as another revenue option. And so in the coming next few days, our focus has turned more to the release of capital and operating budgets and the city's interest in those, including, of course, the specificity of how the stadium money is assigned to the city, and maybe the opportunity for support for human services and tackling the drug crisis in our city through the operating budget. So that's where my attention has shifted. Last week, there was an individual who came and spoke about his circumstances related to homelessness. And so just a brief update that our social workers have actually been working with him since the fall. They continue to be in contact. We're kind of making sure that the right folks that have a good relationship with him are having those conversations and providing services and opportunities for him. Yeah, I think that's it.
Thank you. Now to our city attorney. Do we have a report?
No report, no executive session tonight. Thank you.
And thank you. Moving on to our 4 consent items. Do I hear a motion?
Councilmember Ryan moves approval of the 4 consent agenda items.
Councilmember Bader will second.
Okay, there's a motion, a second. The clerk, will you take the roll?
Vice President Zarlingo.
Yes.
Councilmember Fosse.
Yes.
Councilmember Vogely.
Yes.
Councilmember Bader.
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan.
Yes.
Councilmember Tui.
Yes.
President Schwab.
Yes. Now to our proposed action items. They have been read into the record. This is the second reading, third and final reading for items 5 through 10. Will be next council meeting on the 21st. Are there any questions on our proposed action items? Councilmember
Okay.
Vogely.
Just kidding. I'm not going to ask any questions about any of these proposed action items. I forgot to mention that I really think everybody should read the letters from the public library. They have set up an email system so that they can be anonymous. And I might read parts of it at some point, but there's some really good points in there. So I could pretend that has to do with the Emma Ewell Park improvements. Thank you.
Any other questions on proposed action items 5 through 10? Okay. Hearing none, with no further business, we are now adjourned.